Right glad I am to see you safely returned. My lads were all gabbing and hearing what sounded like all seven hells breaking loose near the grotto, and I feared I'd sent you to your death. If you were in the middle of that commotion, I hope it yielded something of interest. I'd hate to think you'd risk your life for naught. It's a blunt sailor's knife. A blade pulled from the back of a creature you slew at the cave, eh? Aye, I'd agree that such a knife would be part of any seafaring man's kit. I'm starting to think these ruffians are pirates, come to lure my farmhands back to a life of plunder. Chances are they didn't take kindly to your appearance on our doorstep, and set a maddened goobo on you. Aye, the pirates have been adding to their numbers of late. I'd best warn the lads and lasses in my employ to be on guard against their schemes. You met someone else at the grotto? A woman with a strange contraption. Ah, you stole her. She's been in Limsa Lominsa for a good while now. Her studies of the Aether often bring her out to Summerford, so her presence at the grotto is hardly unusual. She's an odd-looking lass, I grant you, but she's not the kind to associate with kidnappers. You may take my word for that. Where trust should be lacking is in those yeomen of mine who have yet to wholly relinquish their pirate pasts. The temptation to return to the free and easy life of a buccaneer may prove too strong to resist. You have my thanks. If it weren't for the efforts of stalwart adventurers like you, this farm would be in a far worse state than it is. Just you keep on lending your talents to those in need, eh? Help bring Limsa the brighter future she deserves. That sea sloth Severin and his lot never around when there's work to be done. I'd sooner hire you for the sake of getting things done, but then the rapscallions would never learn. Round them up and let them know that Stalewern would like a word, and don't take no for an answer. Work? Ha! Can't work when my hands are full lifting this mug. You know I'd wager my last gill you'd never guess what I'm drinking. Swill wine. Well, you're right about the swill part. I reckon it might be worth a day of doing Stalwern's chores, if it'll afford me a taste of proper grog. How am I supposed to work on an empty stomach? Go on, have a guess at what I had for breakfast. Breaded sticks? What? Gods, how do you know? It's my breath, ain't it? It probably smells as wooden as the food tasted. But I know why you're here. I'll just as soon get some real food in me, but I ain't one to reject a summons from the captain. Axes were made for splitting skulls, not stumps. You know what I did in my sailing days? Wonton slaughter. Skirmishing. You bet your bosom I did, lass. Aye, those were the days. I reckon now I'll have to be satisfied taking my axe to the trees. So, Stalwern sent you, and what do you reckon I say to that? I've saucier seas to sow. Damn right. Didn't get where I am by taking guff from the glorified gardeners, but I suppose I can see what he wants to get him off my back. Aye, I'm Severin. You the old man's errand girl now. Tell my dear old captain not to wet his breeches. I'll be along. Oh, and just so we're clear, I don't care for landlubbers. Go find the chocobo you rode in on and ride on out. You continue to impress, lass. All but Severin are accounted for. It's no fault of yours, he squirmed out. I've let that worm wriggle through my fingers more times than I can count. But rest assured, the next time I see him, I'll put him squarely in the dirt, where all such worms belong. Pains me to say, but all the gil in the world can't buy loyalty. There are some like you who can be trusted, but then there are others. Until now, I have had no choice but to rely on that charlatan Severin, even though I am full aware he's been doing shady deals behind my back. More than once I've heard tell of improper trading with goblins. I wouldn't be the least surprised if that were happening right now. Not a bell ago, a sack of oranges vanished, as did Severin. I want you to find and confront the bastard for me. I'm sure there's wrongdoing afoot, so be sure to doubt anything that comes out of his mouth. Bloody hells, I'm up the strait without a paddle. What's this now? Stalewern sent you for the oranges? Huh, so the old bugger had known all this time. Oh, what does it matter anyway? Listen, you're one of those goody-goody adventurer types, right? Go rescue me mates from those double-dealing goblins. They're just over yonder by the bonfire. I owe you one. Would have gotten away myself if not for Severin shoving me aside. If you hadn't come, my dodo would have been cooked. Cooked dodo. Severin sent you? Ha! The way he flew out of here, I was sure he'd sold us down the river. You saved me, mates, and for that I owe you. Suppose I should be ashamed I couldn't clean up my own mess. But a pirate knows no shame. I've no qualms about going back on my word. I'm only giving you this sack because I like the cut of your jib. Take it to Oseen and send him me regards. What have we here? A delivery from Summerford Farms, and as scheduled? Ha! There's a first time for everything. Sack of oranges. Well, look at that. Not a single one missing either. About the only things not here are those bagmen, and I don't miss them one bit. Here's Starwern's payment in full. With you, I can trust it'll reach him. Back in one piece. That's a relief. How did you fare? Sack a gill. Ah, this is what I was aiming for. Looks to be all I was owed, all right. Though I'd be telling you false if I claimed I had not held out more hope for Severin. I was even willing to overlook the skimming off the top, but to sell us all short in favour of those god-forsaken goblins. Ugh. You'd do well to mind yourself around that 2-gill cheat. If he'd leave his own mates for dead, there's no telling what he'd do to you. Blast, at this rate the crops will never be ready for harvest. If only we had black loam, just a bit could send our stalks soaring. I'll bet Rottweiler knows where you can find some. Perhaps you might pay her a visit in the orchard. That gherkin's got a head of cabbage if he thinks I'm fetching him any black loam. But if you dare to pinch some from the cook pot, then be my guest. Just mind you don't get trampled upon by the aurochs that dwell there. Once you've got 3 bushels worth, take the black loam to Freywall at Tiller's Rest. He'll know what to do. Ah, even the weeds wither and die in this desolate dirt. Have some black loam. But a bit of this black loam ought to change all that. I haven't seen any in ages. Gathering black loam's not for the weak of will, nor the weak of stomach, eh? Ha ha ha! Oh, don't tell me Gherkin and Rottweiler neglected to mention where black loam comes from. Well, surely you figured it out on your own from the cloying stench. It comes from the aurochs' lair, of all places. Well, why dwell on who misled whom about what? What matters is that your efforts have brought us the black loam, and we can expect a bountiful harvest as a result. Thank you. Confounded pirates, they know nothing of tilling, only killing, stealing our shovels to melt and forge into axes of all things. They're biting the hand that feeds them, the mangy mongrels. I'd love to teach those curs a lesson in obedience myself, if I hadn't sworn to Stelwyn that I wouldn't fight no more. So I need you to bring back our farm tools, and make sure those dogs reap what they've sown. I wonder what those sea dogs will try and steal when there's no harvest. Stolen farm tools. Ah, good to see the tools back and in serviceable condition, which will be more than we can say of Severin when we get our hands on him. The wretch likely had a role in the theft. Spied him meeting the pirates in secret, I did. I couldn't care less if the wastrel won't work, but when he consorts with cut purses that take our tools away, he's crossed the line. Starwern ought to know what sort of scallywag he's dealing with. Take word to him, would you? Pirates making off with our tools? Freywall did well not to take matters into his own hands. Last thing I need is blood on my crops. But I'll be damned if Severin thinks he can take us for fools. His treachery won't go unpunished. I've come to expect a great deal from you, lass, and you've never once let me down. Yet what I'd ask of you now goes beyond aught I've asked before. Would you hear my plea all the same? Sure. It eases my mind to have your ear. You're no doubt familiar with that scoundrel Severin by now. Well, the scheming scapegrace is at it again. Since that letter came for him, he's been skulking about in the manner he does when he's up to no good. Now he's rounded up his rogues and buggered off, with nary a word to anyone. I've grown accustomed to his insolence, but something tells me this is different. It ain't exactly damning, but when I last had words with him, he didn't look divine so much as hunted. I can't help thinking he's gone looking for trouble and found more than he wanted. So I was hoping you might hunt his sorry hide down and drag it back here before it's too late. The ungrateful little cur bites me every chance he gets, but I can't quite bring myself to cut him loose. I suppose he reminds me a bit of my younger self. Suffice it to say, I'd rather he didn't come to a sticky end. As for how to find him, I'd try asking Grindwider at the Aetheorite. She was the last one to see him. I dare say she'll be able to tell you where he's headed. Nothing that passes through these gates escapes my notice. I saw the Rouser and his rabble set out for Woad Whisper Canyon not long ago, singing about drinking themselves stupider. Cheeky sods said I should join them. I told them I'd rather shrivel up than sip whatever it was that had pickled their brains. If you find the idle swine, be sure and give them a cuff around the ear for me, will you? Of all the dirty, deceitful, downright dastardly deeds that slippery bastard's done, claiming to take the lads out for a drink only to lead us straight into a bloody trap, it don't get no lower than that. Course, I've learned to stay a step ahead of old Severin, so I was ready, but the others weren't so lucky. You've got to help 'em. My axe may as well have been a white flag for all the good it did. Hope you fare better, or the sorry bastards in there are done for. Severin might have got us into this mess, but I ain't about to let him give his life for us. I'd sooner bow to a fishback than be in that conniving bastard's debt. To arms! A true knave, you betray even yourself, Severin. Ugh. We were prepared to overlook the matter of your desertion to the condition that you provided us with suitable replacements. That was the agreement. Yet your latest change of heart leaves your debt to us unpaid. Few are they who betray the serpent reavers twice. You will not do so a third time. Cowering behind your protector will only delay the inevitable. Honourless wretch, your life is all you have left. And worthless though it be, we shall take it. O mournful voice of creation, grant ye this humble stone a soul, that it may wake to life. That the golem could be vanquished. That woman is no ordinary adventurer. Ah, the snake slithered away. I'm only glad he did not have the chance to sink his fangs more deeply into you. Those pirates do not belong to any of the known Lominson factions. Whom do they serve? The beast tribes? Surely not. But the timing of their appearance coincides all too neatly with the recent surge in Sahagin and Kobold activity. Something is afoot. The question is, what? Could it be that the tribes are planning to summon their primals? 12 help us if it should prove so. Limsa would be hard-pressed to keep a single primal at bay, let alone two. But all is yet speculation. I must needs find evidence. The seas continue to rise, while the lesser moon continues to fall. And ilm by ilm, the world becomes ever more unlike itself. It's as Louis Soir foretold. The coming of chaos has rendered the laws of nature mutable, blurring the boundary between the material and ethereal planes. Little now stands between us and the primals. But they are not here yet. Though time be against us, hope shall ever be on our side. Never did the creed of Charlian ring more true. Never did I dream that I'd possess the means to see Aether, yet now that I do begin to take it for granted. How swiftly do the wonders of Charlian seem commonplace. Here, for you. Have you come for the festivities? Today, the Maelstrom officially makes the Great Hole in the Sea its training ground. Join in the celebrations. Wait, a disturbance in the etheric flow, but whence does it emanate? Seasong Grotto, perhaps? What have we here? Can you walk? 'Tis I. Regrettably, no, he eluded me. Understood. I'll inform the Commodore. You collapse from your exertions. Are you suitably recovered? Severin here has apprised me of all that transpired. His account shed some light upon how you came to be attacked by a golem of all things. A golem is a mindless automaton, inert save when commanded to be otherwise. Common pirates could not hope to control such a thing, so arcane are its workings. But then these tattooed wretches are no common pirates. They are the minions of the Sahagin. As to their purpose, well, I shall get to the bottom of it. But first I must escort Severin back to his place of employment. I dare say Stalwern will be wondering what's become of him. And you too, for that matter. I'll bear word to him of your preservation, but I am certain he would like to thank you in person. Pray pay the man a visit. Ah, he told me of you, but perchance he did not tell you of me. My name is Y'shtola. I am a naturalist of sorts, surveying the aether in the hope that it might offer up some clues as to our predicament. I'd say I owed you my life, but that don't cover it. If it weren't for you, my friends would be dead and all. 'Tis a debt I could never repay, but I'll not make things worse by running away. Take me to Summerford Farms, and I'll face the consequences. For reasons I can't fathom, you seem... Forgive me, mayhap we shall have a chance to speak again when I've marshalled my thoughts. Until our paths next cross, farewell. Lo, I knew you'd return. Y'shtola delivered Severin a bit ago. Tales of your heroic deeds precede you. The rest came shuffling back too, the lot of 'em sporting the same haunted expression. It's me who's to blame for that and the rest. I was once a serpent reaver. A thrall to the Sahagin? 7 hells. Reavers may look and sound and act like pirates, but they're naught but the fishbacks flunkies. Us pirates ain't much for laws, but there's things we won't do. We've got a code, see, but the reavers never followed a word of it. A few years back they started snatching law-abiding Laminsons. I'd only just taken my oath when our captain bent the knee to his new Sahagan masters. I knew I had to get away. So I crept off one night, got myself a new name and found myself a new home, Summerford Farms. Trouble is, secrets don't stay secrets for long round here, and word soon spread, all the way back to the sea. The penalty for desertion is death, but the Reavers offered me a way out instead, my freedom in exchange for my mates. The letter. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't bloody thinking, too busy soiling myself. Aye, but you got there in the end, didn't you? When the time came, you made the right decision. The men say little to me, but I hear 'em talk of how you stood up to the Reavers at the last, of how you tried to give your life to save theirs. Be that as it may, no deed, however good, can atone for the crime of betraying your brethren. I know that I do. That's why I'm going to hand myself over to the Yellow Jackets. I'll bring shame to the farm no more. You'll hear no arguments from me. Each man must sail according to his own moral compass. I just hope yours guides you back here some day. There'll always be a place for you at Summerford Farms, lad. And I'll always be in your debt, Staelwyn. I owe you a debt too. Not once have you let me down. Thank you for saving the men of my farm. If I could ask one more favour of you, it'd be this. Tell Baderon what's happened, from start to finish. I'm certain he'd put in a good word for Severin if he knew the whole story. And he's one of the few people I know who the Yellow Jackets will listen to. Well, I reckon I've asked all I possibly can of you. Safe travels, lass. Bloody hells, life on the farm ain't quite how I pictured it. But you needn't worry yourself over young Severin. The Yellow Jackets as hands out the punishments is a good mate of mine. If I ask him nice, I reckon he'd be willing to commute the lad's sentence from hanging to keel hauling. Kindly genty at that he is. I'm only jesting with you. I'll see he is treated fair. Now it sounds like you've done something old Staelwyn asked you, and more, justifying me generous finer's fee in the process. Much obliged, lass. As for a reward, well, she's a lonely lady, this drowning wench of mine. How'd you fancy keeping her company for a spell, with free room and board? Venturing's a tiring business after all. Them as don't rest their bones every now and again tend to end up with broken ones. And take it from me, fighting ain't nearly so much fun when you're nursing a shattered arm. Got that? Good. There'll always be a free bed for yer, so make use of it. Not that you'll have much time for lying around. What with all the levs you'll be doing? Oh, I didn't mention. I'm putting your name down for levs. Our guild draws all manner of clients, offering all manner of odd jobs. Honestly, you'd be amazed how much folk will pay to avoid doing an honest day's labour. Just give Tmokri a shout whenever you feel like making a few extra gil. She'll always have some task or other for you to do. And it's all above board, case you're wondering. We're careful to stay on the Admiral's right side in here, unlike some pirates I could mention. I tell you, if it turns out that had aught to do with them kidnappings, there'll be 7 L's to pay. A proper bleeding reckoning. Mayhap that's what Limser needs, though. On rough seas, sometimes you have to rock the boat to right it. We'll have time for such talk when you're well and rested. Till then, enjoy the wench's hospitality. How do you fare? Rested and ready to expand your horizons? Well then, I've an idea where you might try heading next. Have you heard of the Skylift out in middle of Nocia? Well, if you've ever visited Woad Whisper Canyon, then you must have been up and down the thing at least once. It's that bleeding big scaffolding attached to the descent. You've likely seen the lads and lasses out there using it to haul cargo up to the cliff face. Hard labour that, and I hear they could use an enterprising soul to pick up the odd jobs that no other buggers has time to deal with. Track down the head of the operation, bloke by the name of Workit, and he'll be sure to put you to work on a task or two. Baderon sent you out here, did he? Then consider yourself welcome at the Skylift. Look at that bloody cliff, will you? One blast of fiery hell from that huge dragon was all it took to split the ground in half. Cargo still needs to get through though, so this mess of wood and pulleys was our solution to the problem. Well, one of them at least. If the gods were kind, and they ain't, I'd have about a dozen more workers to handle me growing list of headaches. Glad I am to see you again, lass. A wagon driver just returned in a great bloody hurry, screaming about some monstrosity what sprang out from 1,000,000 corn seedling in his cargo. Seems the gutless bastard tossed it over the side afore turning tail and running for his life. I need you to head down the road, recover that seedling and deliver it to Lyulf over at Swift Perch in western Lenosia. Whatever he pays you for the cargo is yours to keep. After all, I don't rightly know what else is lurking inside that plant, and you deserve to be rewarded for your troubles. Ah, and you'll also find an aetheryte in Swift Perch, so the journey should be worth your while. Has Nemea himself forsaken this desolate land? Though I understood there were risks in gambling my entire fortune on a crop of 1,000,000 corn, I at least expected the seedling to be delivered before disaster struck. Is that my 1,000,000 corn seedling? Oh, joyous day! It may seem a paltry beginning, but the yield of this particular variety of crop plant is nothing short of astonishing. As you've undoubtedly noticed, Swift Perch lacks a certain, shall we say, vital energy. This I mean to restore a modicum of hope to its residents by growing a veritable ocean of corn. You, madam, seem fit to burst with vim and vigour. Might I persuade you to abide a while and help nurture this ailing settlement? You there, adventurer, cast your eyes towards the brewer's beacon. Does the light not seem uncommonly weak? It cannot possibly be bright enough to guide the ships sailing in the bay. I would march over to the lighthouse and investigate it myself, but I'm duty-bound to remain at my post. I would consider it a favour if you could make a visit to the brewer's beacon and see if aught has befallen Canswis, the lighthouse keeper. You say a yellow jacket sent you here? Eh? Me light's grown dim, has it? Well, of course it bloody has. The bomb which fuels me furnace is up and buggered off, you see. If I don't get that beacon fixed up soon, there'll be trouble on the water. I know you're just the messenger, lass, but I can tell a venturer when I see one. I'm going to need you to chase down that bomb and bring back a claw what you ripped from its smouldering corpse. Take this here iron brazier and set her down in the middle of the flock, somewhere near the scarecrow, I'd say. You got a nice fire going and that frisky bomb'll soon be about. Watch you don't singe your eyebrows, lass. All you need to do is take down that runaway bomb and bring me one of its little claws. Ah, you got the ashy bastard, did you? Once I put this little firecracker in the furnace, that should keep things running for a while. I had myself a bit of a look while you was gone, and Limmerlane cursed me if this furnace weren't all bent and broken. Small wonder the bloody bomb was able to escape. I patched things up as best as I could, but I ain't no smitty. You might want to have a chat with that yellow jacket friend of yours in Swift Perch, and have him pass the word back to someone in Limsa. The furnace is damaged, is it? Very well, I shall write up the relevant reports, but these repairs must need to be effected without delay. It seems I have another favour to ask of you, adventurer. Take yourself straight away to the Armourers Guild in Limsa Laminsa and explain the situation to Forge Master Hananza. The furnace in the Brewer's Beacon needs repairs. By Got's beard, I just sent someone out to tinker with it not a week past. Mayhap the bomb Canswis had trapped in there was a touch too volatile. I'll have an artisan visit the lighthouse and pay special attention to reinforcing the casing of that furnace. Your work here is done, adventurer. May the navigator guide you on your journeys. What say you to taking on some work from Naldeek and Vimeles? With a great hulking warship to build and could certainly use an extra hand for any number of tasks. For your first job, I need you to run this missive over to Artburn, the head shipwright of the Morrowbury Dry Docks. We forge most of the ship's bits and pieces here at the Armourers Guild, but the actual construction takes place at the docks found in the south of Lower Lenosia. That's also where you'll find the main offices of Naldeek and Vimeles. The Morrowbury Dry Docks is one of Limsa Laminsa's most important districts, at least as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure you'll not regret attuning yourself to the area as a theorite. If you've no confidence in your sense of direction, you'd be best served making use of the Chocobo Porters, first floor of the mizzenmast, in case you were wondering. Should you choose to make your trek on your own 2 feet, leave the city through the Tempest Gate and follow the road south. May the navigator guide your steps.